In a small town on the edge of Nabara, there lived two sisters who could not have been more different. Amma was soft-spoken, gentle, and blessed with a voice that could melt hearts. Her singing carried something divine, as if her soul spoke through every note. When she sang in church, people would close their eyes and forget their troubles. They said her voice had healing in it. Her stepsister, Efua, was the complete opposite. Proud, impatient, and easily angered, she watched Amma with envy each time people praised her. Their mother had passed away years ago, and Amma's father had remarried Efua's mother, a woman who never truly cared for Amma. From that day, the quiet competition between the two girls grew into something darker. Amma never liked to argue. She believed peace was the best response to hatred. Even when Efua insulted her, she would smile and walk away. But Efua saw that as weakness. In her heart, jealousy began to bloom like fire. Amma's dream was simple: she wanted to become a singer, to share her voice beyond the church walls. She would often sit outside their small house after school, humming songs she wrote herself. Sometimes, the neighbors would stop and listen, smiling as they passed. "That girl will go far," they would say. And that only made Efua's bitterness grow stronger. One afternoon, the local radio station announced that there would be a national singing competition in the city tomorrow. The winner would receive a recording contract, travel opportunities, and a cash prize. Amma's eyes sparkled when she heard the news. For the first time, she believed her dream could come true. She worked day and night, saving every cedi she could from small tutoring jobs and errands she did for neighbors. When she finally gathered enough to register, she ran home with excitement. But when she told her stepmother and Efua, their faces turned cold. Efua crossed her arms. "So, you think you can become a star? Do you even know how many people will apply?" "You'll only embarrass yourself," she said. Amma lowered her eyes. "I just want to try. That's all." But her stepmother added sharply, "If you want to waste your time, do it without dragging this family into it. We have better things to do than chase childish dreams." Amma went to her small room, tears gathering in her eyes. But something deep inside her refused to break. She whispered to herself, "I will still go." Days turned into weeks, and Amma continued practicing secretly. She borrowed her friend's phone to record her singing and sent it to the organizers. A few days later, she received an email: she had been selected for the first round. She screamed with joy and ran to tell her family. But again, Efua's face twisted with envy. She couldn't believe that Amma, the quiet one, was chosen. That night, while Amma slept, Efua took her phone and deleted the confirmation message. She even blocked the email contact so Amma would never receive further instructions. She saw nothing. Confused, she told Efua what had happened, and Efua pretended to be surprised. "Maybe they didn't pick you after all," she said with a fake tone of pity. Amma smiled weakly. "Maybe you're right." Weeks passed. The competition started in tomorrow. Amma thought her chance was gone. But one Sunday afternoon, while she sang during church service, something unexpected happened. A man in a neat suit approached her after the service. He introduced himself as one of the assistant judges for the competition. He had come to visit family in Kumasi and heard her sing. He was shocked that she never showed up for her audition. "Your name was on the list," he said. "We sent you several messages." Amma's heart sank. She knew immediately that something was wrong. That night, she checked her phone settings and discovered that her messages had been blocked. She didn't need to think twice, she knew who did it. She wept silently in her room. Efua heard her but said nothing. For the first time, guilt brushed her heart, but jealousy quickly covered it again. The man promised to speak to the organizers. 2 days later, Amma received a call from the competition office. They had listened to her online recording and decided to give her a chance to join the semifinals. She couldn't believe it. It was like God had opened a door that no one could close. When Efua heard the news, she felt her stomach twist with anger. Yet she smiled in front of Oma, pretending to be happy. But inside, she began to plan. The day of Oma's journey to Tamoro arrived like the dawn of a long-awaited dream. She packed her small bag carefully, placing her simple white dress on top, the same dress she had worn the first time she sang in church. It was old but clean, and it made her feel confident. Her father gave her some money for the trip, smiling proudly. "You've always had a gift, Oma. Go and make us proud," he said. Those words warmed her heart. For the first time in a long while, she felt truly seen. But Efua, standing behind them, forced a smile. Her heart burned with anger. Why is everyone acting like she's already a star, she thought. I'm the one who deserves attention in this house. That night, before Oma's early morning bus, Efua sneaked into her bag and took out the white dress. She cut a small tear along the dress, not enough to destroy it completely, but just enough to embarrass her when she wore it. Then she hid Oma's performance flash drive with the one that contained her instrumental track. Without it, Oma would have no music to sing to. The next morning, Oma rushed to the station. The air was cool, and the streets were slowly waking up. She waved goodbye to her father and climbed into the bus, unaware of what had been done. When she reached Tamoro, the city felt alive and intimidating. The tall buildings, the noisy traffic, and the crowd of hopeful contestants made her heart race. Everyone looked confident, dressed beautifully, holding their phones and makeup. Oma stood quietly, holding her small bag, praying under her breath. When it was finally her turn to perform, she walked onto the stage. The lights shone brightly, and the judges looked at her with calm faces. She bowed slightly and introduced herself. "Good afternoon, judges. My name is Oma Owusu. I'm from Nabira." They nodded for her to begin. She reached for her flash drive, but it was gone. Her heart stopped. She searched her bag frantically, but it was nowhere to be found. The judges watched silently. One of them asked, "Do you have another copy?" Oma's lips trembled. "No, sir. But I can still sing without it." She closed her eyes and began to sing softly, her voice trembling at first, then rising with strength. The hall became silent. Her voice was pure, filled with emotion, like a river flowing through pain and hope. Some of the contestants waiting outside even stopped talking to listen. When she finished, the judges clapped softly. One of them smiled. "You may not have had music, but your voice carried the soul of a song. You have something rare." Oma bowed again, tears in her eyes. When she stepped outside, she saw her phone buzzing, a message from Efua. It read, "I hope your performance went well. Maybe next time, remember to keep your things safe." Oma froze. She understood everything now. That night, in her small hostel room, she broke down completely. She felt betrayed, not just by her sister, but by life itself. She had worked so hard, only to be met with cruelty from someone she loved. For the first time, she wanted to give up. But as she sat by the window, staring at the city lights, she remembered her late mother's words, "When the world turns its back on you, sing anyway." She wiped her tears. "No," she whispered. "I won't stop now." The next day, the results were announced. Out of hundreds of contestants, Oma was among the 10 selected for the finals. The judges said her raw performance had touched their hearts. The news spread fast. Her father called her, his voice full of joy. But when Efua heard it, she almost dropped her phone. She had done everything to make Oma fail, yet Oma had risen even higher. From that moment, Efua's jealousy turned into obsession. She couldn't sleep. She scrolled through Oma's growing social media page, where people had started sharing clips of her audition performance. Omar's natural voice was trending. Even small entertainment blogs were calling her the girl with the golden voice. Efua slammed her phone on the bed. "I will not let her shine," she hissed. Meanwhile, Omar's days in Tamoro were not easy. She didn't have much money, and sometimes she had to skip meals to save enough for transportation. But she remained focused. Her humility and kindness drew people to her, even other contestants admired her spirit. As the final week approached, contestants were asked to perform an original song. Omar spent nights writing one. She called it "Rise Again." It told the story of pain, betrayal, and... But once more, Efua had another plan. She found Omar's phone password, logged into her social media account, and posted a fake message saying Omar was quitting the competition due to illness. Within hours, the news spread. Fans were heartbroken. Some even unfollowed her page, thinking she had given up. Omar discovered it the next morning. She felt dizzy from shock. She immediately contacted the organizers to explain, and thankfully, they verified her identity and restored her account. But the emotional damage was done. For a while, she couldn't even focus on rehearsals. The pressure built up until she almost collapsed during practice. Her coach, a kind woman named Auntie Lydia, sat beside her. "My dear, you cannot fight darkness with anger," she said gently. "Sing through your pain. That is your power." Omar took those words to heart. That night, she stood in front of the mirror and looked at herself. The same girl who once sang to the evening breeze in Nabara was now standing on a national stage. She smiled faintly. "I've come too far to quit now," she whispered. The final day arrived. The auditorium was filled with people, cameras, and flashing lights. It was the biggest moment of her life. She walked onto the stage, heart pounding, but eyes full of calm determination. When the music started, she began to sing "Rise Again." Her voice floated through the hall like warm sunlight breaking through rain clouds. The lyrics told her story, the story of being hurt, rising again, and forgiving those who tried to break her. By the time she finished, the crowd was standing. Some were even crying. The judges didn't need to deliberate for long. Omar was declared the winner of the competition. Tears streamed down her face as she accepted the microphone. "This victory," she said softly, "is not just mine. It belongs to every person who was ever told they were not good enough. Never stop believing in your gift." The hall erupted with applause. Cameras flashed, and her name began to trend everywhere. Back in Nabara, Efua watched it all live on television. For the first time, her jealousy broke into tears. But this time, they were tears of regret. She realized the depth of her cruelty. That night, when Omar returned home for a short visit, the whole neighborhood gathered to welcome her. Songs, cheers, and laughter filled the air. But as Omar entered the house, she saw Efua standing quietly at the door, her eyes swollen from crying. The night air in Kumasi was cool and calm. The streets were still glowing from the excitement of Omar's return. Children ran around, singing the chorus of her winning song. Parents smiled proudly as they spoke of how a girl from their own town had made the whole nation proud. Omar's father hugged her tightly. "You did it, my daughter. You truly did it." His voice trembled with joy. But Omar's eyes were drawn to Efua, who stood apart from the crowd. She didn't clap or smile. She just stood there, frozen in shame. Omar could see the battle in her eyes, guilt mixed with the fear of rejection. When the crowd began to disperse, Omar quietly walked up to her. The noise of celebration faded behind them as they stood face to face for the first time in months. Efua's lips trembled. "Omar, I don't even know what to say. I don't deserve your forgiveness. I hate you in ways I can never take back." Omar looked at her, silent for a moment. The memories flashed through her mind, the deleted messages, the ruined dress, the lost flash drive, the fake post. Yet standing there, seeing her sister's broken face, she felt something shift in her heart. "Efua," she said softly, "I was angry. But holding on to pain won't change what happened. I forgive you." Efua blinked in disbelief. "You forgive me? After everything I did?" Oma nodded gently. "Yes. Because if I don't forgive you, I keep singing with a wounded heart. And my voice will never be free." Tears rolled down Efua's cheeks. She fell to her knees, sobbing. "I'm so sorry, Oma. I was jealous. Everyone loved you. I felt invisible. I thought if I destroyed your dream, maybe I would feel better. But it only made me emptier." Oma knelt beside her and held her hand. "You're my sister. That means there's still love between us, no matter how far it was buried." The two of them cried together in silence. That night, something powerful healed inside both of them, not just the wounds of jealousy, but the emptiness that had kept them apart. Later that week, Oma was invited to appear on a popular television show in Tamoro. It was her first major interview. She was nervous but excited. As the cameras rolled, the host asked her a question that silenced the whole room. "Your song Rise Again has touched so many hearts. Tell us, Oma, what inspired it?" Oma smiled softly, glancing at the audience where Efua sat in the front row, her eyes red from crying. "Pain inspired it," Oma said. "But also love. Because love is stronger than pain. My story is not just about talent, it's about forgiveness, faith, and the power to rise again, no matter who tries to stop you." The crowd clapped. Some people even stood up to applaud. In that moment, Oma knew her journey had come full circle. Over the next few months, Oma's career blossomed. Her debut single Rise Again topped the charts, and she began performing across Ghana and other African countries. Brands reached out to her, and radio hosts couldn't stop talking about the young woman whose voice carried both power and grace. But Oma never forgot where she came from. She started a foundation to support young girls in rural communities who had dreams but lacked resources. She called it Voices of Hope. Efua worked beside her in the foundation. At first, people didn't understand why Oma would trust her again. But Oma believed in second chances. Over time, Efua proved herself. She became one of the most dedicated volunteers, helping young girls learn confidence and self-worth. Their relationships slowly grew stronger. They would laugh together again, share meals, and talk late into the night. Sometimes Efua would even accompany Oma to events, always sitting quietly in the background, humbled but grateful.